Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the day that the Lord has made. We are rejoicing and we are glad in it. Happy Tuesday. If you're coming on, joining us live, please do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and tag Lolly Dolly everybody and let them know that your boy, Ramon Preston, and my squad, we are all live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. And you, my friend, are watching the Ramon Preston Show. Again, hit the like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody, and let them know that the Ramon Preston Show is live on this beautiful Tuesday, March the 18th, 2025. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're going to be talking about building or engineering an ecosystem of wealth building. Engineering an ecosystem of wealth building. As you know, I am always a proponent and a supporter of anyone who wants to build wealth for themselves, their families, their churches, their communities, and for their legacies. And so today, we're going to be talking about how do you engineer an ecosystem of wealth building for yourself, for your family, for your church, for your community, for your legacy? So again, welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. If you don't know, now you know. My name is Ramon Preston, and every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon, live, my squad and I, we show up here on the Ramon Preston Show with one goal. And that goal is to heighten your awareness of biblical economics. Our goal is to share information with you that you can use to take your personal life, your professional life, your financial life, even your spiritual life to the next level. If you would be so kind while you're coming on, joining us live, would you put in the comments what city, what state you are watching the Ramon Preston Show from? I would love to know where you are watching the Ramon Preston Show from. So again, today we're going to be talking about engineering an ecosystem of wealth building. We want to engineer an ecosystem of wealth building. Now, the good thing about what I'm sharing with you today is I started having a deeper conversation about this with my coaching clients who are in our community last night, which, by the way, our coaching community is called the Millionaire Blueprint. It is a coaching and training program that we have year round. It is actually an evergreen program, meaning that you're able to get inside of this coaching and training community and be a part of it for as long as you want to. As a matter of fact, by the end of today's show, I'm going to extend an opportunity to you, especially if you know you're looking for a coach. Maybe you're looking for a biblical-based coaching community. You want to be in an ecosystem or a community that's made up of men and women of faith, entrepreneurs, individuals, W-2 employees, 1099 contractors. Our Millionaire Blueprint community is full of people from all walks of life who represent many different industries and professional sectors. So we'll extend an opportunity to you. In the description, there's a link to our Millionaire Blueprint. We have a special opportunity or offer that we want to extend to you. But today, we're talking about how do you engineer an ecosystem of wealth building? This is a conversation that I started having with my coaching clients last night. We talked about this, and I did my best to create some type of drawing to explain some aspects of it. And so today I'm able to break it down a little bit more and go a little deeper. But of course, in order for you to engineer an ecosystem of wealth building, there are different steps that have to be taken. Each step is a component that works with the other step or component. And I think even at the beginning of the show, I probably need to say this now. Building wealth is not a sprint, okay? Building wealth is more of a marathon. It's more of a marathon. It's something that you have to really set out to do over a long period of time. So if you jumping in and out every 2-3 months and you flip-flopping, you're really not putting yourself in the best position to build wealth, okay? If you want to build wealth, you have to first think like a marathon runner. You have to think about the next 5-year horizon, 10-year horizon, 15 to 20-year horizon. Because if all you're thinking about is how you can make a couple dollars in the month of March, how you can pay your bills in April, you're not thinking like a wealth builder, okay? So that's the first part about engineering an ecosystem of wealth building before I get into these steps. Because again, each one of these steps are different components, and you've got to understand how one step works and plays into the next step. And I'm going to also show you how certain steps need to be paired together so that you can see this acceleration or this explosion take place. So here we have 7 boxes that represents what I believe are the 7 main steps or components to engineering an ecosystem of wealth building. And again, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to implement this. You don't have to be an independent contractor. You could be a W-2 employee. And again, I've got testimonies and receipts to show you at any given time, because inside of my Millionaire Blueprint coaching program, I've got people who have come into this program on fixed incomes. I've got people who have come into this program as W-2 employees. I've got people who have come into this program as 1099 independent contractors, network marketers, freelancers, individuals who are self-employed, business owners, pastors, ministers. I told you I got people from all walks of life and from all professional sectors in this program. So I have different experiences that I can share with you and show you that when you want to engineer an ecosystem of wealth building, it really don't matter what part of life you coming from. It don't matter what your tax bracket is. You could be making $10 an hour or $10,000 an hour. You still need to understand what the steps are, what the process is for engineering an ecosystem of wealth building. Now, my engineered ecosystem of wealth building is going to be more biblical than someone else's, because everything that I do as an entrepreneur, as an investor, as a private equity firm manager, everything that I do as a human is biblical based. That's for me, because that's who I am. And I build my business and economic and investing and wealth building on Deuteronomy 8:18. That scripture says God gives you and I the power to get wealth. That means he doesn't give us the wealth, but he gives us the power. He gives us the ingenuity. He gives us the revelation and the strategies and the wisdom and the ability to get the knowledge and obtain that knowledge. That's what he gives us. But we still got to put it to practice. So the first step to engineering an ecosystem of wealth building is really about you creating value. Value creation, in my estimation, is the first step for engineering an ecosystem of wealth building. Creating value. You got to create value. Now, it doesn't take money to create value. It takes time. And guess what? That's your most valuable asset. If you're watching me right now live, it is approximately 12:14 p.m. on Tuesday, March the 18th, guess what you got that millions of other people who died before now don't have? You got time, bruh. You got time, sis. You got time. That's your most valuable asset. And not only do you have time, but you do have at least one talent, whether you know what that talent is. That talent is a God-given ability that he instinctively put inside of you, whether you've developed it or not. So I want you to understand that when you are looking to engineer an ecosystem for your whole life to have wealth, the first step is learning how to create value with what you have. You have time, you have talents, and you probably have other resources. Now, you might not be using them because you're not really looking at them in light of how they all play together into the other things. Because if you don't fill these boxes up, if you don't understand how each step, each component has to work with the other, then if you have time and talent and resources, you're really not going to know how to use them, okay? But for the purpose of this conversation, if you're going to engineer an ecosystem of wealth building, it starts with value creation. So you got to look at your time, stop wasting it, stop giving it to people, places, and things that ain't bringing value back to you, okay? You have to look at your talent or talents, okay? You don't want to be like the man in the Bible that Jesus told the parable about, because God gave him one talent, God gave somebody else 2 talents, and God gave somebody else 5 and 10 talents. And because he had one, he was looking at the other guys and gals that had 2, 5, and 10, and he went and buried his. And then when the master came back and was like, why you ain't do nothing with the one talent I gave you? And he like, well, I just didn't want to lose the one I had, bruh. You already lost it by not using it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then you got to look at what other resources do you have that bring value, not value to you. This is where a lot of people don't even start the process of engineering an ecosystem of wealth building, because they're not even bringing value to other people. Okay? So create value by giving other people things that at some point will lead to the second step of engineering this ecosystem. And the second step is making money. You'd be surprised how these two conflict with some people. These two conflict with some people, because I know some people who they want all the value. And then I know some people who want to give other people value, but they are afraid to give people value with the expectation at some point of making money. Like, it ain't wrong to do something for people and make money doing it. But you have to be willing to do enough of that. You got to be willing to give enough of your time, enough of your talent, enough of your resources, so that it creates so much value that it just seems like it's automatically a default mode that you start making money. All right? So you want to make money. Now, I believe, and one of my mentors taught me this, I believe that making money, please hear this. I believe, and I want you to catch what I'm saying. I believe that making money validates the value that you created. So a lot of times, if you create value and that value does not at some point lead to making money, then that means you invalidate the value you said you created. Because if you create enough value, it has to produce money. It's just the way it is. It's like turning the faucet on and at some point water don't come out. Water coming out. It's like breathing in, and at some point you think you're not gonna breathe out. No, you're gonna breathe out if you breathe in. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? So creating value, it results in making money. So making money is actually the validation of the value that you created. It completes the transaction. It becomes the glue to the value. The money does. The money makes your value to the people, places, and things that you gave it to. It makes it sticky, okay? So you have create value. Number 2, make money. And number 3, this is my take. You got to give. Now, some people get offended by this because they feel like you're a preacher. You shouldn't be talking about giving. Just stupid to even think that. I mean, it's just ridiculous to think just because I'm a preacher, I shouldn't be talking about money. But some people think that. But I'm not talking to those some people. I'm talking to other people. So when I say give, for me, I'm talking about I'm going to pay my tithes. I'm going to give offerings. I'm going to give to certain nonprofits, charities, ministries. There are things that my wife and I do all the time because we're going to create value. We're going to always be a blessing to people. We're going to be a service. We're going to always make ourselves available. We're going to utilize the time that God gave us, the talents that God gave us, the resources that God gave us to bring as much value as we can to people. And that always results in us making money, right? And then as we make money, one of the first things that we're going to do is give. We pay our tithes, we give offerings, we have other strategies for giving. But then this also means, so you're paying tithes or you're giving to charity, but it's also about giving. It's also about paying yourself too. It's also about paying yourself. So there's a certain percentage of the money you make that you want to utilize this step. Okay, so here you make 100% money because over here you probably gave 110 of yourself. And there's a certain percentage you want to give tithes, charity, and pay yourself. So that when you get to this step here, invest, you want to take a certain percentage and you want to invest it. Now, again, 99% of the world, including me for most of my life, don't do this. And most people don't even do that. Most people don't even do none of this. Like, all you got to do is just take this and figure out how to work it into your life, and you're gonna be in the 1 percentile, okay? But since I don't have that much time, let me just get through it. You want to invest in vehicles of multiplication, and there's a difference between a vehicle of multiplication and a mechanism. But here, you want to take a percentage of money and invest it, and then over here, there's a percentage of your invested money that you're going to repurpose. But when you repurpose it, you're repurposing it really in mechanisms. So these are more smaller micro investments, which if you were in my program, you would understand this differently. But these two actually create an ecosystem in and of themselves of compound interest. So this is an ecosystem in and of itself. When you invest a certain percentage of your money that you made into investment vehicles, and then the money that your investment vehicles make, you put that into repurposing it into other mechanisms, and you just keep that circle going. And this is before expenses. Most people never figure this part out. They can't do it because most people, when they finally make money, guess what they do? They don't give to God. They don't give to charity. They don't pay themselves. They don't invest. They don't repurpose it. They go from making money to bills. They go from step 2 right over here to step 6, expenses. This is where you pay for your priorities. And then step 7 is lifestyle. Lifestyle. This is where you pay for your luxuries. And at some point, these two can be interconnected where you build your lifestyle into your expenses because this ecosystem is kicking off enough money to cover these. This is the game, y'all. What I just shared with you is literally a wealth building ecosystem that if you educate yourself to engineer that, it's going to change and transform your life. Okay, so you can take a screenshot of that. Actually, we're going to be working on adding this particular graph with a series of training modules specific to each one. We're going to be adding that into our Millionaire Blueprint coaching and training program, which I personally believe if you're going to implement these correctly and engineer this type of ecosystem of wealth building, you're going to need a blueprint. You're not going to get around it. I don't care how much you don't want to buy courses and how much you don't want to pay for coaching. Well, guess what? You're just going to take the long way home and you may never get home. You may never get home. At some point, you're going to have to make it up in your mind that it's probably going to cost me some kind of money to be able to learn how to make more of that money. You have to. Like, I'll be the first to admit, my ego got in the way from me paying for coaching and education sooner than I did. I should have done it way sooner, but my ego got in the way. My pride got in the way. I thought I could figure life out and I didn't need to pay another dude to show me how to do what I could figure out doing. And then once I finally got to a point in my life where I realized I'm just in this repetitive cycle, I'm really not getting where I should be going based on all the value that I'm given. And once I started paying for coaching and consulting and education and mentorship, my life just exploded. I can remember back to the first month I joined my first high ticket coaching program. I can remember the first month I joined my first high ticket coaching program. I literally generated I think it was about $125,000 in contracts. I probably received within that first 30-day period, maybe 20,000 of that 125. But the fact that within a first month of joining a coaching program, I was able to look at contracts that were worth at least 125,000 and make at least 20 grand. I was like, duh. And a lot of it just came from me being motivated and excited and being held accountable because I had weekly calls. I had 2 weekly calls at the time. I had events that I had to go to, workshops I had to attend, and I took it as if I just paid for a college education, so I have to show up, which means I had to pay to travel. I had to pay for hotels and rental cars and food. But guess what? I felt like, you know what? This is the first time I've ever invested like this in myself, and it was like the best thing, and my life has never been the same ever since. So with that being said, hopefully this short lesson on how to engineer an ecosystem of wealth building has at least helped you understand the power of doing this, and this is how it looks. You create value with time, talent, and treasures. You make money. You take a percentage of that money, you pay yourself, you give, if you believe like I believe in tithing and charity and making donations. You invest, you take a percentage of that and allocate it to investing, which you gotta have the right vehicle to invest in. And then you make sure that you repurpose that invested money. You don't just invest it and then every time that money makes money, you go spend it on expenses and lifestyle. Expenses and lifestyle should be last, because at some point you want this ecosystem to pay for this. So it's not as complicated when you are willing to learn and put it to practice. So my time is up for today. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I wanted to extend an opportunity to you. It is an offer for you to join our Millionaire Blueprint coaching and training program. Inside of this program, you have literally thousands of video lessons on goal setting, on financial literacy, on creative real estate investing, on deal making, on structuring holding companies, on creative tax strategies. All you have to do is click the link in the description and just preview all of the courses and video lessons that we have built inside of this Millionaire Blueprint. In addition to that, we also offer inside of our Millionaire Blueprint coaching and training program weekly coaching calls. Every Monday, like last night at 7:00 p.m. Eastern, we have a live group coaching call. We teach lessons, we answer questions, we hear success stories. It's an extraordinary coaching community. We also host regular workshops. We host regular meetups. It's an amazing community for you to not only connect with people, but to learn and educate yourself and to be mentored, because my team and I, we always make ourselves available to offer consulting to you, to offer on-demand access to any other resources that we have. All you have to do is click the link in the description. We have a pay-as-you-go option, and we have a one-time payment option depending on if you would like to have a one-on-one sit down with me or not. So if you would like to have a one-on-one sit down with me so that we could put an entire game plan together for you for a year, 3 years, 5 years, or whatever, you have to pay the one-time payment for the entire year, or you could just pay as you go and get what you need to get, and we can be right there with you along the way. So I love you all, appreciate you all. Thank you for joining today's show. You already know I'll be back here tomorrow, same place, same time, 12:00 noon Eastern, right here on the Ramon Preston Show.